Hey, I just wanted to, give you guys a few of my thoughts. Really, I just wanted to record my thoughts for my future self. That's what I wanted to do. And, I just beat Kingdom Hearts last week, and I'm still kind of getting over it, I guess. It's weird whenever, you've waited so long for something and now it's over, and especially whenever it was just a little bit disappointing. So I'm just going to start with, like, my general feelings on it. Um, One is, I love playing it. Like, it was just extremely fun. Like, all the Disney worlds were just so well done. The combat was just felt so fluid and good. It really made you think of Kingdom Hearts 2, man. Like, so much. And, like, even though here I might not be looking like it, I'm having a good time. And, I was able to record my heart rate during this. And, yeah, it was just a great experience. Until, it got to the actual story, which was just a little bit disappointing for me just because I expected the game to be a little bit longer for some reason. Like, it's really just as long as Kingdom Hearts 2 was, but I don't know, I guess I was just expecting more. And for them to go through all the Disney worlds and then just have everything there at the end was just kind of, it was a disappointment for sure. So, yeah, so let's just go through everything. I wanted to start by talking about combat. And, oh, let's hold on a bit. We'll do this so that I can still see comments. No, not mini player. Come on. Pardon me. You can skip ahead. There. Okay, sure. Okay, anyway. Combat. We'll say this is 245. So combat, I thought was really good. Let's start with something that is controversial. Situation commands. Let's get into some combat here. So, situation commands, there's actually 4 different types as far as I can think about it. There's attractions, there's team attacks, there's high-level magic, there is form changes. Right? To me, those are the types of situation commands. You could count finishers. Finishers, I guess, are just a form of magic, kind of. Anyway, this is not the core gameplay. It'd be nice to experience some core gameplay, really. Anyway, so situation commands, I think, are a mixed bag. One of the things you get is it's really good for low-skill players, right? Like, there are these like things that are easy to trigger. There are things that just like make the environment so juicy and everything that it just like pumps the game up, and that's beautiful. It's something that it's very Kingdom Heartsy. Kingdom Hearts is all about glamorous battles, and this game definitely takes the cake in glamorous battles. Everything just looks beautiful, and it's so easy to do anything huge that you want. That's a good thing. But once you like get to the high skilled players, they start thinking, well, wait a second, like attraction commands are really easy to, or situation commands are really easy to get, and there's no cost for doing them. Like the cost is, what is the cost? There is no cost for going to into a situation command. It can be frustrating with the way the UI is designed. Like, it'd be nice to actually get into a battle. Alright, so there's a situation right here, triangle. The thing is, whenever you have multiple of them, they start stacking up, and you can easily get into a scenario where you know, you don't know what you're doing. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find an example here, but I don't know, I just found myself, you know, pressing triangle at the wrong times and activating something I didn't want to do, which, whenever you have attractions, which we'll come to now, I guess, when you have attractions that are already hit or miss, you know, a lot of people hate them, and I'm one of them who hates them, unfortunately. I see why they're there, though, but I'm just more of a high-skilled player, so I don't like attractions. But the thing is, when you can accidentally trigger an attraction so easily, it's just really annoying to have to like go through that starting animation, which you can set in the menu to skip, but I didn't do that until way late in the game. And you can cancel it with L1. It's still just, you know, an interruption. It disrupts the flow of gameplay. And even if it's something you want to do, I still think it disrupts the flow of gameplay, especially for a high-skilled player. If you're trying to speed run, you know, I'm not sure, I haven't seen a speed run yet, but I'm just guessing that attractions are not the best thing for a speed run. But I think a speedrunner is going to have to, you know, have a lot of time just, you know, like pressing L2 to like change which triangle they want to, which situation command they want to get to, which one they want to activate. And that's just kind of annoying. You got to be really precise about which ones you activate. Anyway, so I just think there are too many attractions. Like, they're too easy to trigger. Like, the fact that in almost every battle you can get an attraction is just a little bit silly, I think. It would be nice if it had some sort of, like, limit on how often you could do it, or... I mean, honestly, I don't think attractions are even necessary at all. They seem kind of silly. There's enough other things in the game that could serve the place of attractions, and there's also enough flashing things. So I really don't think they're necessary, but the reason why they added it is for low-skilled players. If kids are having trouble, if you know anyone's having trouble, they can just activate an attraction and help them get through the game. Like, could attractions use MP? Maybe, but I wouldn't want them to do that because magic's so good in the game, which we'll talk about in a minute. And could they use the focus gauge? Yeah, they could, but, you know, then, like, shot locking is already not so fun to use or anything, so I wouldn't want anything else to, like, replace shot locking. Honestly, I think, well, here, let's compare attractions in a bit to reaction commands in Kingdom Hearts 2. So, in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's two types of reaction commands. QuickTime events, which are usually in bosses, and then there's also, like, it's basically situation-based reaction commands. Based on the Heartless you're fighting, you trigger certain reaction commands. And these are very useful in Kingdom Hearts 2 because, like, those ones in particular, the QuickTime events are kind of silly, but they still serve their purpose. But the reaction commands based on the Heartless you're fighting is a little bit more interesting because you can use that to your advantage. Like, it's definitely true they have the same problem with attractions. They're too frequent. But at least they're different for every Heartless you do. And you kind of have to learn it and use it to your advantage, too. And it's not always worth doing. But there's some situations where they're actually interesting in game design. They actually make you decide differently. Here, attractions, because they're always just the same thing, and just random, I think it's random which one shows up. I mean, there's some way the game decides, but they're just overused, and you often, there's not much a decision that goes into it. It's basically, do I want this overpowered thing that limits my mobility and changes the gameplay, or do I not? And since you can't choose which one you want, it makes it even less of a choice. So, yeah. Team attacks, I feel similarly to. Like, they're cool. They're like the replacement of limits in Kingdom Hearts 2. The difference is that, you know, limits use MP, these don't. And the fact that, like, you can just do Donald's duck flare or something, or Goofy's, like, head bombing thing, they're cool to do, you know, and they're really useful. They're almost too useful, in fact. But you just trigger them too easily. Well, it's random. I think it's just random how often Donald or Goofy feel like doing it. So, I mean, again, it's not like the player choosing Like, they can choose whether or not to do it, but it's always advantageous to do that. So it's not really a choice anymore, whenever it's always advantageous. So, I mean, I'd like some more like trade-offs, risk-reward there. Well, that's all I'm going to talk about that. Let me just go to Magic here. 1020. So Magic is great in this game. Like, I don't know, I found Magic so useful. Especially as you get later in the game, like, even early on, Blizzard and stuff is so useful. And I love how, you know, here, let's look at this one. Oh no, I just did mini player again. You know, I loved how, you know, I cast Wind here, and it lets me do stuff. You know, it lets me, like, jump on it. Like, that is, like, a beautiful thing. The way Wind and Ice both work, you know, it's like, it allows for more, like, just a little bit more emergent gameplay. So, you know, like, I cast Ice, and now I can slide along it. It's really cool. Same thing with Wind, you know, I like cast it and I can jump into it and use that to like slam onto top of something. That's great stuff. I'm not playing, that's why. So, you know, it's kind of overpowered, but because the game does a really good job of like limiting how much MP you have. That's true. So you can't use magic too often. But then I like it because, you know, this kind of goes into Keyblades a little bit. Some Keyblades give you MP Hastiga. Some Keyblades increase your magic. So, like, basically you can switch between, I'll save this conversation, but you can switch between different Keyblades to, like, change how you think about using magic. And you go between, like, the MP healing phase versus just using it. And the fact that Cure uses all your MP, it solves the same problems that Kingdom Hearts 2's Cure did, you know. But definitely because there's a situation command based on magic, you know, like using a lot of fire at once gives you an extra hit. That's like a higher level of fire. Using a lot of water at once gives you an extra hit that's a water level, an extra or a higher level water. And that encourages you to use even more magic, which is a big problem in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. People aren't encouraged to use magic so much, so people don't learn it as much. This is a spoiler. I don't want to spoil things yet. So, you know, I think that magic's just really fun to use in this game. And I love that the game encourages you to use it by having these situation commands. Like, those situation commands are good, because you earn it. You know, maybe it's too easy to earn it. You know, you could argue that. But I think it's just easy enough. And I like how the game doesn't limit MP too much, at least on Problem. I felt like I had plenty of MP. And let's see, that's probably enough about magic. The other type of situation command is form changes. So form changes are just what you do with Keyblade, but every now and then if you get low on health, there's this risk form active situation command that adds up. And you know, I doubt I can find a video off the top of my head using it, but you know, when it comes up, it's so useful. Like, here's what I love about it. Okay, one, you have to decide whether or not to use it. So basically, let's say you ran out of Cure. You can't cure anymore, you don't have MP, you don't have any potions, or you don't want to use potions because you're you don't like using items. And your HP's low. Well, what are you going to do? You know? Well, fortunately, they have Risk Form. I think I probably activated here or something. I don't know. Oh, it's Rage Form, actually. My bad. So, like here I just activated Rage Form because I was kind of in a sticky situation. Let's go back. You know, like, I had it here already. I knew it was going to be 7 seconds, and I was already thinking about using it. But I was like, maybe. And I get into this position where he, like, knocks me down to 1 HP, and so I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it. And so I use it, which restores my HP. So now this is the genius of it. It's not advantageous to use, because now once I'm here, notice how I can't use any magic. Let's do theater mode. I can't use any magic or items. I can't do anything, really. All I can do is attack. So all I can do is attack, and also there's this other thing called risk charge. Okay. So I mean, it's very limiting. So if you really don't want to go into it, at least not as a low skill player, because you won't have any magic. You can't use any magic. So it's really like a last resort type of thing, which is good because you have to choose whether or not to use it. It's not a pure buff. That's great. So the next part of it is, once you're in it, is also still interesting because there's this ability called risk charge, which when you use it, it like decreases your HP, which I'm going to use it here, just like that. I use it a bunch because if you use it a bunch, it gives you the finisher. But now, like, notice how it decreased my HP whenever I used it. It risks it up. It creates more risk for you, but your strength is higher and stuff. So you actually get stronger for taking a risk, which is perfect. It's good challenge layering right there. So I love Rage Form. It's so much better than Anti-Form Sora. Like, Anti-Form is random. It's annoying. There's no advantage to it. Here there's good trade-offs, both in deciding when to activate it and also when to use risk charge. So yeah, with that, let's go into the other type of form changes, which come from Keyblades. So first of all, let's just talk about Keyblades in general. There's only 13 of them. It's not too many, but they all have usefulness in certain areas. They all have advantageous things you want. So like even the Kingdom Key, I can understand someone using that late in the game. Although there's definitely some overpowered ones, like I think this is one of the overpowered ones. I don't know what this one's called, but I used it. This is the one I used the most throughout the game, and what happens is whenever you land like 2 or 3 combos, or maybe you could also do magic, when you trigger a situation command with it, it pops up this situation command that lets you like form change, and it changes the form of the Keyblade and allows you to do different things. So like this one in particular I think is so cool because it gives you that ability like here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, like it made these 4 versions of Sora Shadows that I can now use attack to like all bombard the enemy with. And so it's just interesting how almost every Keyblade has a unique type of thing like this. Like there are some repeats, but it has a unique type of thing like this that just makes the gameplay different, which is one of the big ways the game handles flow control. It keeps different players in flow because they can choose which gameplay they like, which Keyblade they like. They can choose to go into different Keyblade forms at different times, which keeps them like, changing the way they play, which makes it less boring, right? It adds more variety. So it's a great challenge, or it's great flow control for sure. Another good thing about it is there's like advantages and disadvantages to each Keyblade. Whenever you go into these forms, you get different abilities. So like for Mirage Staff, it's better at magic. And it gives you more abilities when you're in Mirage Staff to increase your magic. So what I often decided to do was get into this situation where I were to use magic a lot while I was in Mirage Staff, and then my MP would run out, and then I'd go into another form where I decide to where it has MP haste to go, and now my MP charges faster. I just think things like that are great. Yeah, so I really love Keyblades. Like switching Keyblades in battle is a great feature. Like, since the Keyblades all act so differently, you're free to say, okay, maybe I want a defensive Keyblade, maybe I want an attack-focused Keyblade, and a magic-focused Keyblade, and let you pick on the fly which types of Keyblades you want in battle. just a beautiful thing. And then combining that with the situation commands, the finishers, and building up. The only thing is I do think, well, here's what it does. It gives the player another goal they have in battle. It says, okay, I need to get my Mirage Staff form and hold it there for a while so that I can stack it against a boss. Here's the thing, though. It's so easy to get them that you can easily do it within one battle. Which they definitely didn't, and I think it's a good decision. Look how many things here are here at once. I did Rage Command accidentally, I think. But that's another thing. When you go into Rage form accidentally, that's just a problem with situation commands, I think. It's a hard problem. They do let you switch and stuff, but in the heat of the moment, you can definitely accidentally do something you don't want. Anyway, I forgot what I was just saying. Just that being able to switch Keyblades gives you good strategy. You can decide in the middle of battle which Keyblades you want to focus on. It's a new goal to focus on, building them up. It doesn't take too much to build them up, but it's not too trivial either. It's kind of, for some Keyblades that have 2 form changes, it's kind of hard to trigger the finisher sometimes. So, I just love the Keyblades in this game. Huge. It's such a simple addition to Kingdom Hearts, and it's just a huge, it's a game changer for sure. I think there's a lot of potential there to, overthrow Kingdom Hearts 2's battle system, provided that they do a lot of other things too. At this point, I still prefer Kingdom Hearts 2, but, if they made a final mix version here, it could easily top it. Another thing to go with Keyblades is the way you heal. So, of course, there's Cure, there's Potion, and I like that you have different shortcut menus, but the problem is it's hard to trigger them because you have to, okay, so say you have L1 pressed, and you're you're in that shortcut menu there, which I was just on. You're on this shortcut menu. You have L1 pressed. You can press any of these buttons to trigger a magic thing, or whatever you have placed there. It could be an item. And then you can press up and down to go to different shortcut menus, which that's a great thing in Kingdom Hearts, because in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, you just never had enough space in your shortcut menu. So this is a great feature, but I think it's just too hard to do. I found myself never doing it, especially in the heat of battle. You're just not gonna. I wonder why they didn't decide to use R2 or something, or maybe L3 or R3, something where you can still move and change it at the same time, Or maybe a different button for a different shortcut menu, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I think they could have added a little bit UI thing there. But anyway, that's not healing. The point is, you cure, and, you use all your MP, and now how else are you going to heal? Well, there's Risk Form. I love that there's just so many ways to heal in this game. There's Risk Form. Let's see, there's using some Keyblade shot locks let you heal, which that is a great decision. Because now and items too. So now I have so many different ways to heal. It doesn't matter so much that I'm out of MP. And Cure is definitely the easiest way to heal, but if I need to, I can use other ways. Risk Form, as we talked about before, is a great trade-off stuff, and using shot locks is another valid way to cure. I love that. So anyway, let's talk about difficulty here. So difficulty, the game is definitely too easy. I played on Proud mode. I was a little bit scared at first, and I did have a little bit of trouble at first. It's not dead simple, but I was really expecting critical mode, and whenever I got halfway through the game, I realized, no, not halfway, 80%. I realized, wait a second, there's not going to be a critical mode, and I was disappointed in that. It's not that Proud mode's too easy. I think Proud mode is an appropriate difficulty. It's just there needs to be a more difficult mode, which I think they're going to add it later. I don't see how they're not gonna. I really hope they do, because the game could use it. I really didn't die that much, Let's see how many times I die in this video. Okay, 9 times. I mean, that's a good amount of time, I think. But you know, it's also my first playthrough, and I'm kind of stupid with this, you know. Like on a second playthrough, I die a lot less, I think, because now I know how everything works, and you know, I just really want more challenge, and a lot of people do too. Okay, so with that, I'm pretty much done talking about combat. I think combat is stellar in this game. Like, it just looks so good. Like, I could talk about enemy design a little bit. Oh, another thing is that magic changes as you go into different Keyblades, or different forms, which that's genius too. Well, anyway, while this music's playing, it's a good time to talk about Gummi Ship. First of all, I found it easy to customize. Like, I don't know, I didn't actually think about it that much. Whereas in Kingdom Hearts 2, I would never customize. So I just absolutely love this Gummi Ship mode. Like, whenever I first saw it, I'll admit I liked it more than I ended up liking it. Like, I like the concept, you know, that you have this open world you can explore in a Gummi Ship, and you can just go through it, find a world as you go. That's genius. You just have this freedom to go around and like find your own Gummi Ship. Like these missions here in Kingdom Hearts 2, it's the same thing essentially. Although Kingdom Hearts 2s are a little bit more cinematic, the gameplay is fairly similar. But Kingdom Hearts 2s felt very like forced. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I killing all these things as I go through here? It just felt very silly. Here it's a choice to like run into one of these things, and it just feels more natural, like traveling through space. So I really think they merged together 1 and 2's Gummi Ship missions, made the best of both worlds, and the only thing I would say about it is the controls aren't so good. Like I constantly got messed up in flying, not in this view, but in the open world view. But that's a minor point, really. The other thing I'd say about it is it's not very open enough. It's not what I was expecting. Like, I wish it really was just one huge open world, and there's only, what? There's only like 9 worlds in the game. I wish it was all open world, and you could just fly wherever you wanted from the beginning of the game. I think that could add a lot, and I think it'd be pretty easy for them to still, like, they could block off single worlds if they want. Or they could block off parts of the map if they wanted, but... See, look, even here I'm having problems. Look at that. But, yeah, so... You know, I do like, there are some mandatory Gummi missions, like this one I think is mandatory. It's before you get to Frozen. You have to beat this in order to get in. And, you know, I think that's a pretty fair game, you know? Like, to make bosses that, like, would block the worlds. You know, like, if I beat a high-level boss, you know, I should be able to enter that world, I think. Like, I think that would be a decent thing. I'm fine with what they did here, though. Like, it's still good enough, and I don't really care for open world stuff in general. I just think if it was open world, like, completely, that might make other people happy, and I don't know how much harder it would be for them. Maybe they were struggling with it, though. Maybe that is what they wanted. That's all I'll say about that. I just love it. Okay, flow control. Well, we already talked about the big thing, which was the Keyblade transformations and combat and stuff. The other way Kingdom Hearts manages flow is by, you know, letting you choose which world you want to go to. I was in the menu before just a second ago, right? Oh, another thing about Keyblades real quick is that you can, like, synthesize them, you can upgrade them. That's a nice touch, you know, really nice touch. Love that. Although I ended up not upgrading too much. Still, I love it. Anyway, so like here you have like a world map, And you always get 2 choices. You know, basically the game's set up into like 6 parts, or 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, I guess. Where you can choose between Toy Box and Corona, Frozen and Monsters Inc., Big Hero 6 and Pirates. And you know, they have recommended levels to like point you in the right direction. But you know, here, like I could start by going this way or that way. You know, it's nice. It's just one of those nice little subtle choices. Like, why did they block these 2 off? They really thought players might accidentally stumble upon them and do it. You know, I think that's fine. Anyway, like, being able to choose does give people more flow, because it means if they get stuck in one world, which I doubt's going to happen, but if they do get stuck in one world, they can go back and do another one. You know, it's more choice. The other main way they put variety in combat, or control flow, is through mini games and like variation in experience type. So well, here's a mini game. You know, you go to the Winnie Pooh world, you see this. Luckily, there's not too many mini games, but here's one. You know, the thing is, this does, you know, interrupt normal gameplay type, and it, you know, does things. Mainly though, in the Disney worlds, there's always little mini games and stuff. I think Pirates of the Caribbean is probably the one that takes the cake on this, where the whole world is basically a mini game. Like, this is a mini game. It doesn't seem like it's a battle, but you know, you're doing things differently here, and it's a mini game. You know, another thing is swimming. You know, like, this world is just built around the whole idea of, well, the players have already done a lot of normal combat, so we'll just mix it up a bit and give them pirate ships to sail and attack with. You know, this is a mini game. Big Hero 6 is more open world, and it gives you that ring hopping thing to go through. Like, do I like any of these mini games? Some of them are, yeah, sure. There's a first-person shooter thing in Toy Box. I do like some of the mini games, and in fact, I feel like they're a lot better done than things in Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff. So that's good. Like, there's definitely a lot of polish that goes into this, especially the ship battle here. That is amazing. Like, I'm surprised it works so well. Like, they spent a lot of time on this. Which kind of brings me to my next point, that I think the minigames aren't really necessary. I think normal combat is already good enough at, like, letting you switch forms and stuff, which lets you, you know, vary the game yourself. And the fact that, you know, certain characters aren't playable and stuff, I wish that the work that went into making this pirate ship stuff rather went into the main story, personally. Like, pirate ship stuff's one of my favorite parts of the game, but I would gladly get rid of it to make the story better. So with that, let's go into world design, which I'm going to start with Tangled. I love Tangled, and this is one of those things that I love here. The way they made Rapunzel work. Look at this, you know, like, if you saw the movie, you know she's this girl, and she's never been outside or anything. Even if you didn't see the movie, Kingdom Hearts 2 or Kingdom Hearts 3 will gladly show you the whole movie again, so don't worry. But then there's these little moments like this, you know, you actually use magic here, it's gameplay, and you trigger this, and it's just like, oh, you know, she's just like so happy. This is an amazing moment here. Just like, this is something you can only do in Kingdom Hearts. You know, and that's why I just love this world, because there's moments like this all over. You know, there's another moment where you, like, splash her. You know, I doubt I can find it, but, you know, here it is. Well, no, it's not. Like, it's funny because, you know, I'm going to talk about this again later, but, you know, they just, like, rehashed the plot of the world here. Like, it's kind of annoying when I just watched Tangled a week before, and now here again I see the same story over and over again. It's like an hour of cutscenes too. But then you get to things like this. That's not where it is, but you know, eventually somewhere in here she gets in the water. Look at her, you know, look, she's just so exciting here. And I just love how they just like added to her character and they helped you bond with her because of this. And this is really the only instance of the game where they do stuff like this. But you know, I really felt more connected to Rapunzel after this world. And I think they did a good job with that. It's because of those little moments they added. Here's the water. You know, here, like, you could call this cutscene, but I think it's optional. But here, you just, like, you splash her. You're, like, playing in the water with her. It's beautiful. Now, here, like, you like, try to splash her and stuff. The thing is, I think it's optional, which is good, because in a speedrun, I don't want to be doing stuff like this. But it's one of those little interactions that really, like, make her character so much better. And I wish that they were able to do this in every Disney World, because this is what Kingdom Hearts should be doing with its Disney Worlds. A rainbow, right? Which I'll talk about later about what I don't like about this world. But that, I think, is just wonderful. Other than that, you know, most worlds are pretty linear, you know, and this is one of them. The other big one is Frozen. Well, I don't know. I'd say all the worlds have linear stories for sure, and their worlds are just really linear too. So, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, it's just like Kingdom Hearts 2, but honestly, I didn't even notice it being a problem here. Like, I felt like I loved the worlds, besides Frozen, which I'll go into now. I think just the major problem with Frozen is that I think the major problem with Frozen is just that it's one huge hallway. They rehash the movie. They don't give you more interaction with characters to make it more interesting like this one did. They make you rewatch Let It Go and stuff, which is fine and all. Just a waste of time, I think, for the developers. And they added this dungeon in the middle of it that just seems silly. Like, there's a lot of combat in Frozen. A lot of, like, exploration and stuff, which, I don't know, you just are constantly going on this mountain and stuff. It just feels too samey. Like, at least in this world, the forest it gets different over time. I definitely felt like the ice scenarios in Frozen were very just annoying to go through. It'd be here, I guess. You know, I'm not going to talk about it too much. But there are good things in Frozen. Like, I love the character that you got. That surprised me. I always expected Elsa would be the character here, and I think that would have been a better choice, because they could have done something with Elsa to make her more useful, more nice, more interesting, especially since I didn't really like her in the movie, so it's disappointing. Anyway, that's enough about that. I don't want to be too negative. The other thing I really love is Big Hero 6, because it's like open world. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, this like open world type of thing is just really nice to see. And it's just the story's still linear, you know, but it's just nice to have this huge looking world. Like, you feel like Spider-Man. And this is a good point to bring up the other thing, like shot locks. Just make it so you can just I hope I see it. You know, like, I think hopefully in this part, like, the fact that you can ride on this is so cool. The fact that you like shot lock between these places and stuff. And the game teaches you this fairly well, that you can do this, and this is how you should travel through it, I think. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. Okay, so from now on, we are doing spoilers. Okay. Okay. Pacing is just off the wall. I just hated it. It's really too bad because Kingdom Hearts 2 just nailed it so well, I think. No. First of all, Kingdom Hearts 2's pacing was awful, too. And, like, this is a problem with the Kingdom Hearts series. But what Kingdom Hearts 2 did nice was it added that little middle part where you're in Hollow Bastion, and it added a bunch of story. Sora was a part of it, and it made it fun. You know, I love that Keyblade, or that Heartless battle. It's just amazing. I think this game could have definitely used another middle section, where Sora took a break from the Disney worlds for a minute and did something. And I think it could have been easy for them to, like, save Aqua sooner. I don't see why not. They could save Aqua sooner, she could go to sleep, and we could rescue Ven later, and he could, like, rest or something, and then we could go do the final battle. And it would be the same thing, except for just a little bit broken up and paced better. And, like, and that's just at the bare minimum. Like, really I was disappointed because I expected the story to be more epic and stuff. That being said, the Disney World stories, you know, some of them are good this time around. Like, the Disney World stories are, like, 2 of them are mainly rehashes, Frozen and Tangled. 2 of them, or 3 of them might be sequels. Yeah. 2 of them are sequels, Big Hero 6 and Monsters, Inc. And I like both of those. The sequels are good. They all try to interact with the main story, too, which it's unfortunate that none of it really seems to matter too much. But I do like how they at least do that, because it was fun, like, going through the game and stuff. But then, you know, when you realize that none of it mattered, like, because the box never gets brought up, so why do we talk about the box at all in this game? Everyone's already wanting to know what it is. Why do we talk about it in Disney World to try to get our hopes up that we're actually going to figure it out? It's just silly. It's just because they want to sell the next game, which we were already going to buy it anyway, come on. And then the other thing is, you know, Marluxia and Larxine's plot in, you know, the Tangled and Frozen world just seems silly too. Like, I like the idea that the organization is trying to think of this backup plan, but first of all, they only found 3 girls who are princesses of heart. Like, that's not enough. The other thing is, we never end up using it anyway, so it just seems kind of silly. Okay. Okay, I can't finish this right now, but I just want to say that, you know, I do like how they added stuff with, like, Vexen and Demyx and stuff, and Ansem and that whole plot, but they didn't finish it. You know, they just, like, teased it the whole game almost, and then they never came around to it, and I just don't like that. But I do love, like, all those moments. Like, you can see here, this is the end of the game. You know, like this is just this video, you know, which is basically the Keyblade War. Look how many magic moments in the story there are. There's so many, and I cried, like, a lot of times, you know. And I love it. You know, there's so many great parts here. And the ending was disappointing to me because Sora, you know, they didn't show what happened to Sora. Like, I understand that he, like, sacrificed himself, but I don't get why they didn't show him sacrificing. That would have added a lot to me. So I had to just imagine it, you know, saying, here, Kyrie, I got you. Especially when they needed more scenes together anyway. Like, I love the Paopu fruit scene, but they could have used more scenes together, and that would have been a perfect thing. Here, I'm sacrificing myself for you, Kyrie. Here. That being said, I did like the first secret ending where we see Xigbar finally, like, be Luxu. That's amazing. It's about time we see what he is. I was disappointed he didn't, like, overthrow Xehanort or something. I'm also disappointed in the ending itself, how Xehanort just resolved so easily, and, you know, like, that was just... He resolved too easily, but maybe in future viewings I'll understand it more and be able to make peace with it. Same thing with the normal ending in general. Like, it was a good ending, just that one part they left out. A 1-minute scene or a 30-second thing of Sora sacrificing himself. And, like, we seeing it happen and us crying from that rather than just him disappearing seems silly. I also love the versus 13-ness of the secret ending. I hope that comes into play. Okay, peace out.